Invading the internet, covering Web 2.0, coast to coast, worldwide, and everywhere in between. This is where you put the social in social media. We are Social Blade.
Yes, we are Social Blade, and this is an incredibly awesome episode today. I don't know if anybody knows this, but this is what we call super special. It'll only happen one time, and once it's over, it's over. And so we'll look back. This will be one of those classic episodes that we say, wow, that was awesome. Do you know why it's awesome? I'm going to ask Aaron Ryan a question. Aaron, which episode is this?
It's episode 69.
And there can only be one episode 69, and you, our lucky fans, are going to witness this.
Well,
as you can see,
it may be over quicker for some than others.
You had to go there, Jeff. Had to go there.
We'll see who can last the full hour.
Jeez. We were planning on doing a nude show, but we negated that. Today is the poetry episode with Jeff is in his full coffee house look and feel. So we'll stick with that. I apologize for the suit and tie. Oh, I took the tie off. At least I'm.
You have Dapper Dan over there as well.
Dapper Dan with the haircut, exactly.
Yeah.
So this is going to be an excellent show. I am one of the co-hosts. My name is JD Rucker.
I'm Aaron Ryan.
I'm Jason Ergo.
And I'm Jeff Kreider.
And we are joined by a very, very special guest. And just for pronunciation's sake, I would like for you to introduce yourself.
Sure. I'm Priyanshu. I'm the founder of Social Clean. And thanks, everyone, for having me here.
Thanks for joining.
No, thank you for coming on board. For those who don't know, SocioClean, and we'll be getting to this in the second half of the show, but SocioClean is an excellent service that quite frankly, is, I think, going to explode, especially after all of the recent news. Who's clicking? Stop clicking. Especially after all of the recent news about people, nasty divorces going to Facebook and finding bad things, and companies going to Facebook and MySpace and Twitter and looking at your background and seeing what you're doing wrong, and teachers getting fired for posting pictures of themselves on a strip table or stripper bars or whatever strippers do. Where do they go? I don't mess with strippers, even on episode 69. So, but yeah, it looks like it's going to be an amazing show, and I am ready to rock and roll. We're going to change things up a little bit. Normally, Aaron Ryan is not the person who starts off the show, but this particular story is one of sadness. So we're going to get all of the sad out of the way right up front, and then we'll get happy. So Aaron, why don't you depress us real quick about MySpace?
Yes, we need to take a moment of silence.
Okay, the moment's over.
Okay, the moment passed. Okay, so we're going to be saying ByeSpace to MySpace very soon. They are planning on firing 47% of their staff. That's 500 employees. It's really unfortunate. That is unfortunate for them, though. I mean, I wouldn't want to be them. But, okay, so what's going to happen is they're going to sell MySpace. They finally have realized that no matter what they do, it doesn't seem to recover itself. Even though Mike Jones, the newest CEO, decided to make it less social and try to work on what they're good at, which is videos and music. However, it still lost revenue last year and hurt the Fox News Corporation as well. So they're going to be selling it in June, and they're going to be offering it up to private sectors as well as even Yahoo Incorporated. You like how I said Yahoo, right?
We love it.
Yes, I worked on it.
MySpace.
So come this June, it's going to be gone. And the thing is we joke about it, we make fun of it, but for some of us, we spent a lot of time on MySpace in our teen years, and MySpace led a real huge path to where we are today in social media when it comes to opening doors for places like Facebook and Twitter and YouTube. So, I know we're going to probably continue to make fun of them in the future, but if we could just take a moment and kind of reflect on our own usage with MySpace. What do you guys think? Do you think it's going to be a sad moment when it's gone, or are you guys already over it?
I think the moment's already over.
I've been over for the last 5 years.
Well, I said this in the chat room in the drill down last night. I said if Facebook does end up buying MySpace, I think Zuckerberg will change MySpace homepage to a virtual ping pong table.
Over what?
Well,
How
you know,
funny would that
I don't use MySpace, and I haven't used it for years and years and years. But you know, I'm trying to look at the history of it. I'm trying to see the history that it's led to us today. And I mean, although like it's like nobody really uses it anymore, although some musicians still do, and a lot of people who want to even use some videos in a sense to share with their friends in a social aspect, and haven't really caught on to the Facebook effect.
people who are
But
looking for casual encounters?
No, I think it's used in some
Yeah.
countries also. I'm not positive which ones, but all the different social networks are used very differently in different countries.
yeah, I mean, of course, and I'm sure it's still popular somewhere in the world, but it's just not enough. But I
Yeah.
do look at it instead of looking at it as a social network that's failed. Let's just try to like take a moment and look at it as like, yes, I can brush it away, Arnold. There you go.
A trailblazer.
Yes, it led the way exactly, JD. Right on point. I mean,
They were the first
it
one
led the
that's
way.
they were the first one that stole the social network idea.
Yes.
So it's-
Yes.
yeah.
Friendster
the
Friendster had
Winklevosses-
yeah.
Are suing the
Winklevoss-
wrong people.
The Winklevosses will own MySpace from all the money they've got from Facebook, and that will be funny if they were to buy. If you guys are watching, and I know you are, twin Winklevi, is it Winklevi if it's plural?
Winklevosses.
Oh, man.
If you guys are watching, I think that you should take your money, buy MySpace, and then really just stick it to Mark. Just
Ooh.
stick it to Mark with MySpace.
That's a
any way
good
you
idea.
can. That would be very funny, and I think that they are probably the only ones who could buy it and actually make anything of it, in my personal opinion. Priyanshu, first off, I know that you use it because I know that MySpace is listed on your site as one of the sites
Right.
that you guys are working with. What is your thought on the demise of MySpace?
I don't know. I mean, I don't know how very many people think about what's going on with MySpace. I mean, with the way Facebook and Twitter have come up, I don't even think very many people even remember, I mean, what MySpace is all about. So, I mean, like you said, we can take a moment and think about it, but that's about it. I don't even think it's going to be talked about after we leave the show that, oh, MySpace is all going to be gone. So, we're still contemplating on that fact that MySpace isn't even worthy enough to actually be a part of your social profile. I mean, do you even consider that? Because when you go online, I mean, you go on Facebook, you go Twitter. If you're opening up a new account, you open up Facebook, Twitter. Would you ever go to MySpace and open an account? I guess probably not.
No. Although they did have a lot of people actually. Let me get the stats. They did have quite a few people last year when they looked at and reflected on their 2010. Let's just quickly see.
Mostly
30
Canadians from what I heard.
3.3 million.
3.3 million new profiles created. That's a lot for.
Let's see. Also in 2010, Facebook had, was it 250 million? So not quite a comparison there. Hey, look. MySpace had it. What they had the world by the horns in 2005, 2006, and they just, I think that in my personal opinion is they fell victim to their own sloppy code, their own lack of being able to innovate. They basically got too big to steer the ship and to innovate quickly enough to be able to fight off. And they were, if there's one thing that you can say about MySpace, it's very similar to what you can say about AOL, is that they were first in, and a lot of people that followed them and eventually beat them learned from their mistakes. And that's kind of what's happened with MySpace. MySpace went through, they did their thing, they made a lot of mistakes, and other people learned what not to do. And that's really, I mean, I can say that Facebook would not be as popular as it is today if it wasn't for MySpace trailblazing, and then also MySpace showing them what not to do and how to basically not run a truly full-on social site that's not geared specifically, that's open enough to appeal to not just teens and bands. So, they didn't have, the problem with MySpace is they just didn't have enough clout.
Nice.
Well, I mean, I don't know what I'm going to do tonight because my story for this evening was how to use MySpace for business, but apparently it's not going to be useful to anybody in this room.
Actually, one quick example that I can think of is when JD just talked about technologies going obsolete is Netscape Navigator, because
Ooh.
they actually were a big browser at one time, and
man.
they just ran out of
Well-
innovation. I mean, I don't even know where they are now. I mean,
Well, what
AOL
happened? What happened with Netscape was it sort of got forked over to Mozilla. Mozilla was always the sort of back end part of it. They just open sourced it, and it took a life of its own. Really, that's kind of the death of Netscape as a browser, at least.
Yeah, but
Whatever
this-
happened to Alta Vista?
Right.
They got bought. I thought they got bought by
Digital and then Compact or something. I don't know.
Yeah, it was.
It's still around. You can still
Is there?
up until recently. Actually, it was
Is it
still
really?
the best place to do translations online.
Really?
But now Google is much better at that.
Yeah. Well, they had Babelfish.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Alta Vista's still there.
Hmm.
Oh,
But
And they didn't have enough clout.
nope.
They did not have enough cloud. Speaking of cloud, do you like that? So cloud. Anybody who does not use cloud, don't, because it's scary. It's scary what it can do to your psyche. Our good friend Zaibatsu has been watching his cloud score just plummet. And I'm meaning to talk to Reg if you're watching. Let's talk, because we need to talk about your cloud score. It's dropped 7 points in the last month and a half. Not that I'm obsessively monitoring you or anything, or everybody else that's in the chat room, as well as in the show, and anybody that I know. I don't check your cloud score every single day or anything. I don't. But if I were to do so,
You're lying.
I'm not lying. I'm hiding that you. No, I actually I did look into Cloud for a long time. Cloud is very fun. It's very enjoyable, but it's also probably more importantly, it's really gaining in power, which can be told by recently they were granted or achieved or earned $8.5 million in funding, which for a company that doesn't really have a tangible source of revenue, nor plus there's someone who their entire product is based around somebody else's services, namely Twitter, Facebook, and LinkedIn. That spells good news for those startups out there who are doing very similar stuff, such as SocioClean, which we'll talk about soon. But back to Klout. Yeah, they just got $8.5 million funding, and they're on their way. They've really, for those who don't know, Klout basically takes your major social graph, those particular sites that we're talking about, LinkedIn, Facebook, and in particular, and it scores you based upon your interactions, engagements, what people are talking to you about, what you're talking to them about, what you're tweeting, what you're Facebooking, what you're getting retweeted, who you're talking to, all this stuff, and it takes it and it uses a pretty darn accurate algorithm to determine who you are, what your tendencies are, and who you're affiliated with, and basically your quote-unquote importance. For those who don't know, the most influential, the only two 100 scores on Klout currently are Barack Obama and Justin Bieber. And Justin Bieber is actually technically a little bit higher, which, and those are, you want to get rid of to people who are as ever are. These are two people that, at least from a quote-unquote Klout perspective on the internet right now in social media, you can't, maybe Lady Gaga, Britney Spears is up there, and then you got the Pete Cashmores of the world. But really, I don't know. I think it nailed it. Who else gets talked to or talked about more than Justin Bieber and Barack Obama on social media? So that's one testament to what they've done. The real key there, though, and the thing that's kind of made them elevate is above some of their predecessors, some other companies that have tried to algorithmically rank how important you are, is the adoption. This is getting adopted by major corporations that are looking, using it to find influencers within a particular niche or particular niches. Local businesses are using it to find quote unquote influencers that are local that they can talk to and try to get as advocates. And other services such as Hootsuite and some of the other Twitter and Facebook-based services are utilizing Klout Score's API. They've got over 1,000 currently using the API.
How does Hootsuite use the API? What are they doing there?
So you can, when you go in, I wish I could give you a screen. Here, I'll send you a screenshot real quick. You can actually go into these different services, and they take Klout and they attach it to various things. Seismic. Do you have Seismic, Jason?
I do not.
Okay. So
TweetDeck.
there's another major social media force right now that's utilizing it. Over 1,000 right now are currently doing it. And that 8.5 million pretty much guarantees that they will be given a shot to, the only thing when you have a company that does not have a true revenue source at this point, then you always wonder how long can they last until they're bought, and are they going to last long enough to get bought? In this case, it's that 8.5 million should be enough for them because they've got basically it's a low cost item. Once you created the coding, you basically have a website that there's
You're
not a
selling
whole
the
lot of
rights
expense.
You're basically selling like the rights to use your nameplate on things.
Right, exactly. And so, but they're not even selling it. They're keeping it open. What the goal here is, this is something where their goal and where they're heading is to those who are familiar from a search engine ranking perspective and a search engine optimization perspective. They're trying to become the PageRank of social media. So if you use PageRank to determine the power of a particular website, then you can use Klout to determine the power of an individual social media user. Jason, I'll pop it right here in this room here. Here's a little screenshot for you. There you go. And that's just how Hootsuite currently is utilizing Klout. Other services are, and like I said, from an accuracy perspective, I did some tests. I started looking at it. I started looking at basically, those, like they're good at identifying bots, for example. They can tell if a bot is out there, with 20,000 fans they've accumulated by churning followers for several months, and they've got 20,000 fans. If people aren't talking back to them and there's no engagement and no interaction, then it doesn't matter if you can have 500 followers on Twitter and have a much higher Klout score than somebody who has 20,000. And that's really the key.
Because it takes the qualitative data.
Right.
And that's something I was explaining this. I was explaining this to someone a couple of days ago, and he was like, "How in the world can someone with 10,000 followers have a lower Klout score than someone with 10 followers?" And I was saying, well, if that individual with 10 followers, those 10 followers are Justin Bieber, Lady Gaga, President Obama, J.D. Rucker, and just name the other ones. But then Klout takes that into consideration and says, okay, that person is actually communicating with influencers. But the thing that this is the crux of it. Yes, while you will have a higher Klout score if you're engaging with influencers, but your true reach will be like a 10. So like you want to find that good mixture of like high Klout score, high true reach.
Right. No, exactly. Being able to talk out to broadcast is nothing. Anybody can. I know people that have hundreds of accounts with 10,000 plus followers. These are meaningless. But first off, these followers are selling teeth whitening and Forex, and they're not doing any engagement, and neither are these bot accounts.
Well, two things. One, it's almost like a rank system that you have to look at based off of reach as well. So if I have like a 98 like Klout score with a reach of like 10, and you have a 67 with a true reach of like 97,000, was it? It's almost like you have to measure it based off of the reach and the Klout score. It can't just be, okay, I have a better Klout score than you, which is saying, okay, I'm influential with that amount of reach. But you are basically saying, I have this amount influence over this great amount of people.
True, but keep in mind that Klout score does take true reach into account. In other words, just because, as an example, mine, I've got 94,000 or 93,000 followers, but my true reach is only 34,000, and I'm trying to clean them off as quickly as possible. Thanks to this particular thing, it made me realize that I don't need to follow 95,000 people. I've got it down to like 69,000, which coincidentally, this is episode number 69. But I've got 69,000 people that I follow, and I'm gonna whittle that down to people that are real and talking, and I want to talk back to them, and I just want to be a good social media user.
Well, here's the deeper meaning of this though, is if we're starting to like rank influence in aren't we starting to like put each other into like caste system? Isn't it like a caste system? Where do you want to like engage with someone with a low Klout score, or do you only want to engage with people with the same or above Klout scores?
I
It's
don't.
almost
I
like
don't
you're-
engage. I don't.
It's
engage
almost
with
like you're
anybody
creating a
below
caste
50.
system. I mean, I've heard this before, and it's a good argument though. If we're continuing to like these influential metrics and try to seek out these influential metrics, I mean, we're essentially putting people into caste systems.
No, absolutely, and I mean, and just as an example, earlier, Ergo had listed off a bunch of people. I just want you to know that that's not the first time that anybody said the names in that order: Lady Gaga, Barack Obama, and J.D. Rucker.
Right.
Aaron, go ahead.
But JD, a lot of people we're talking here on the in the chat a lot here are wondering more about the average Klout score. What would be considered average? And you guys were
Well,
just
50, I would imagine.
No,
If it's a
it's
scale
not.
of
No, I wouldn't think
It's not.
so.
really, I would
No.
think so. I mean, if it's a scale of 1 to 100,
No, it's not. If you think about the average Twitter user has what 100 followers, or was it less than that?
A standard Klout score is going to be between 10 and 20.
really?
The
Yes.
10 and
I
the
would
10 and
say so,
20s
yeah.
will the 10 and 20s will account for 85-90% of the population of Twitter right now.
They
Yes.
got rid of it.
Huh.
There used to
But
be
remember,
there used to be a metric that would tell you what percentile you were in.
Sure, and they took that off.
And then it's like, I think I was, back when they weren't updating it daily, I think I had like a 31 or 32, and it said I was in the 70th percentile.
If your
like
Klout score is over 30, it's strong as far as you are an active engager.
Aw.
You're talking to people and people are talking back to you. If it's over, I think I actually defined it in the article. And this is all supposition based upon just looking at various things. But over 30, you're good. Over 40, you're strong. Over 50, you're at the 50 point, you're basically that's where you're starting to be a true influencer. So to speak, at least based on
You're a
Klout, I'm not
mover and
saying
shaker.
reality. You are. 50 or above, between 50 and 60 is a very strong Klout score, and you're probably in the top 2%, maybe even higher.
yeah.
JD, I have something to say here. I don't know how well we can trust this anymore. It says that I guess the most influential topics that I talk about or something, skiing.
Mhm.
I never talk about skiing.
Was there an Ergo prior to you?
No. No.
Maybe you're
In Southampton, I can
Maybe you're
see Raleigh,
tweeting.
YouTube. I don't know what Codex are all about. Facebook, I see, but skiing.
Southampton, huh?
And so I don't understand.
Well,
Yeah,
look,
I would
but mine's correct actually.
So
Yeah.
we've identified Ergo was able to decode Klout and ruin it all.
I know. No,
Mike-
actually, I think Mike's right.
Yeah.
And Ender is tweeting for you, Ergo.
That could be.
There you
So
go.
he
My
likes
dog
skiing.
likes to ski.
I do want to say, like, Klout is a really great place to go and check to see your influence and who you influence and who influences you and to see your reach and things like that. But remember, it's going to have
Why?
its faults.
Why?
Just because nothing is perfect yet, JD. You will create it one day. I believe in you. But, at
Why?
the same time,
I think
when
it's-
you
I
look at
think
your
it's
true
supposed to-
reach and you're comparing it with other people, remember that you have different sizes in how many people you follow and how
Yeah,
many
but
people
why?
follow you. So if you're comparing it to other people, you have to look at that. You have to see the size and it's not just Twitter. Remember that, because some people were asking that in the chat. It's not just Twitter. It's Twitter, Facebook, and soon to be
Wait.
LinkedIn.
It is.
Why?
LinkedIn is already in there. I thought.
It's already in there.
Why?
Okay,
You can
it was
sync
going to
them.
go into beta. But,
No,
okay.
What do you mean?
Why is it going to go into beta? Why any of this stuff? I just want to ask you why.
Why?
Jeff, why?
People like numbers. I'm not Jeff though.
People like numbers. There you
I get where you're going,
No,
JD. I
but-
get what you're throwing down.
Yeah, but Jeff doesn't, and that's the important part.
What are you talking? Oh, okay. Why is exactly the question I was asking
There
myself
we go.
when I was coming with my social media strategy. Oh man, I drop the ball on these transitions all the time.
Yeah, but why?
Yeah, exactly. Anyway, I wrote an article on Social Blade a couple weeks ago, talking about answering the why question when coming up with your strategy. I see a lot of people, especially in the industry that I work in, jumping onto social media platforms without fully understanding why they're on them, except that people keep telling them they need to be on them. So I basically came up with just a list of why questions to help start, get the brain moving and thinking in the right direction. And the first one was, ask yourself, why are we on, insert the social media platform there. I mean, you don't ever want to mention the social media. You don't ever want to say, why are we on, Facebook? Why are we on, or you don't ever want to like mention like the tool specifically. Why are we like communicating over these channels? Like what benefit are customers getting out of it, and what benefit are we getting out of it? So like why are we on Twitter? Why are we on Facebook? Why are we on YouTube? Why are our customers on Facebook? Why are our customers on YouTube? Why are our customers on insert any social media channel there? And some of the things that I came up with was, well, our customers are on there to receive discounts, to customer service outlet, to discuss and debate industry-related topics, to be informed on industry-related topics, to get involved in your social marketing initiatives, and to really be connected with like-minded individuals. The next one I had was, why are we investing our time and resources into social media? Well, in 2009, Edelman's Trust Barometer found that consumers trust other consumers more than any other entity. And since the energy has changed and consumers can now bypass business and communicate with other customers directly, we as businesses need to be on those spaces to help direct and create the conversation. Because if we don't, we do so at our own peril. And the next couple ones were, why are we monitoring conversation? We're monitoring conversation to be a part of our conversation and our competitors' conversation. Why are we directing conversation? To help aid the conversation. And why are we creating conversation? To become a leader. And then one of the other ones that I actually wrote this and published it on another site, and the guy who commented actually disagreed with me a great deal on, why should you care about your competitors? Why should you worry about what they're doing? And my response to that was, I really don't recommend like a isolationist strategy to business. When you're engaging, especially in social media, you need to have a clear understanding of what your competitors' capabilities, strengths, and weaknesses are, because you need to understand, what makes your competitor tick, and how can you exploit them and outmaneuver them for your gain. Because if your competitors aren't monitoring, their online reputation or their conversation, monitor it for them. Use that as an opportunity to take their customers, or to take the initiative to really direct where they have left off. Make them react and follow to your lead. In business, I make the correlation to it. In business, as in war, understanding your opponent's centers of gravity is just as important as understanding your own. If we agree that social media is the DNA of our brand, and that the DNA of our brand can be considered a center of gravity, then we can really deduce that understanding why our competitors are on, said social media channel as a priority. So these are just ways of getting your mind to think of, thinking the why question, because once you answer the why question, once you're able to answer the why question, the how and the what are so much easier.
I completely agree with you. And Tammy Flores says they underestimate the internet, and I think she's referring to what Arnold had to say in regards to Blockbuster didn't pay any attention to what Netflix was doing. That worked well for them. I think that people in regards to business aren't necessarily at a point yet where they're taking social media as a very important entity towards their business strategy. And still very hard in convincing themselves to take part in social media. But all the things you just listed there, Jeff, I mean, if those aren't reasons enough, I don't know what else to tell anybody, because those to me would entice me. If I was running a business, be like, you know what, I need to get on board. This is our future way of branding ourselves, humanizing our business. And we don't want billboards anymore that is a one-way. And that can't be said enough. We want a two-way conversation as consumers. And businesses really need to start taking that seriously going forward in the future.
Well, yeah, I kind of goofed up there at the beginning when I said don't mention the tool. In this case, you do want to mention the tool of like why do you want to be on Facebook? Why do you want to be on Twitter? When you're coming up with your social marketing initiatives, like your actual action plans, I break it down to like strategic, operational, and tactical levels. When you're coming up with your tactical levels through that strategic strategy, don't ever mention the tool, because once you mention the tool, you lose. I actually learned that from a really, really smart individual that I had a drink with in Vegas, and he said, when coming up with your strategy, don't ever mention the tool, because that tool might not be there the next day, and if you're basing all your strategy on that tool, what are you going to do? So don't ever mention the tool, but in this case, it's a good good exercise to get your mind thinking of, why do we need to be on Twitter? Why are our competitors on Twitter? What can we learn from Twitter? Just a lot of why questions.
I agreed with that statement until Facebook hit what I felt was a tipping point. I think that Facebook has achieved a status of untouchability, at least in the next, say, 18 to 24 months. Personal opinion. I think Twitter's still vulnerable. All of them are still vulnerable. YouTube is not, I don't think, but that's Google. But in my opinion, there's only 4 quote-unquote untouchable tech companies out there: Google, Facebook, Apple, and Microsoft.
You say YouTube is untouchable, though. Facebook, if they really wanted to get more into video, they are a viable contender there.
Oh no! What I mean by untouchable is that YouTube is. It's not that YouTube can't have competition. I do, and we were just talking about this because there was a stat that showed that Facebook, more videos are watched on Facebook than they are on YouTube.
No, I don't.
Yes.
No.
Yes.
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 No.
Yes.
Yes.
No.
And a lot of those are going to be YouTube videos, but that's the
the
stat that I read.
You linked me something the other day, and it said that I think it was like 2 million videos are viewed on Facebook in a month, and 2 million videos are viewed on YouTube in a day, or something like that.
Oh, was that it?
Yeah. I don't have the source of what it was, but I'm almost positive that's what it showed.
Yeah, but the thing is that because of JD's right, because the integration, there's more YouTube videos watched, but it's from Facebook. A lot of people are watching YouTube videos from Facebook more so than just going to YouTube and looking for that specific video, because we're sharing it on Facebook. So, and the video, besides that, just being able to have that feature on Facebook as a separate entity, then it's right there, another way to have video source. But sorry, go ahead, JD.
No, that's it. I'm gonna stick to my assessment and say that Facebook can that while YouTube, and I noticed I didn't include YouTube in the quote unquote list of untouchables. I'm just saying that I don't foresee YouTube as YouTube can have competition. The only competition it can have at this point is Facebook.
Is the traffic identical?
Pretty
close
YouTube,
to being identical?
Yeah. Time spent is higher on those 2 sites than any others, but I don't know what the traffic numbers are. I know that Facebook is still slightly bigger as far as more people are visiting it. So I don't know. I mean, these are great questions.
Here you go, JD.
These are amazing questions. I don't want to see stats.
Check it out here. Here you go. Here's the thing you had linked to. 2 billion videos, the number of watched on YouTube per day, and 2+ billion, the number of videos watched on Facebook per month. So I said million instead of billion, but
it's billion per day per month. Okay, so yeah, so
1/31st is how much Facebook has right now.
Yeah,
or
so
30th,
I was wrong,
whatever.
and Jason was right. Mark it down.
You should take him to court.
Yes.
Defaming you.
I take you to internet court.
Yeah, no. What?
That's an obscure reference.
That was an obscure reference. But if we actually were talking about this earlier, and I almost jumped right on top of it then, because how many of you guys? Let's have a show of hands. How many of you guys watched the Social Network movie?
Look at those strapping young men.
Anyone?
I did.
Yes.
I saw
Winklevoss.
Now, how many of you knew really the story before the Social Network came out of all these lawsuits and stuff that were behind the scenes there? All right, Aaron did. I had no idea. However, now the Winklevosses or the Winklevoss twins are big.
They're not octopuses.
They're not.
It's not octopi.
Yeah.
It's like
Winklevosses or Winkle. Yeah. Anyway, if you have seen the movie, which I'm sure most of us have by now, the Winklevosses were supposedly the ones that first came up with the idea of a site like Facebook, which they obviously weren't the ones that first came up with the social networking site because Friendster was around before that, but they were the ones that wanted to first make it sort of Harvard only, a sort of specialized thing. And after telling their idea to Mark Zuckerberg, Mark came up with Facebook, which was basically their idea, but he then expanded it more and more and more. And then sort of in the movies, they played it off. Whenever Facebook had another big milestone, it always cut to the Winklevosses, and they were always upset. And that's kind of what I, as I was reading this article here about this latest happening.
Likes a butthurt Winklevoss.
Yeah. So Facebook just had a
Winklevoss.
Right.
But according to Arnold, they have Facebook accounts.
Do they? Well, in the movie, every time they hit one of these milestones, they always were pissed off and everything. And kind of that's what just happened again here. Facebook, just had their recent $50 billion valuation. And as a result, the Winklevosses are back in court again. And, they're basically trying to... from the movie, they had a settlement. I don't remember what the settlement number was offhand right now, but...
$58 million.
Okay. And basically now they're complaining that their settlement wasn't enough, and yeah. So most people are thinking that, this whole thing's just going to get thrown out and there's not going to be anything of it, but it's worth a shot for them, right? They don't have anything really to lose. If they get a piece of the $50 billion pie, it's definitely something. But I don't know. I don't think they're gonna actually succeed here, and they're just making themselves look like idiots. But it definitely is not gonna hurt for them trying.
Well, they're doing it because of their ego more than anything, in my opinion. And I mean, it could be a little bit because I've had the influence of the movie.
Yeah.
And of course, perception is everything when it comes to coming up with conclusions. So I don't want to say that that's exactly how they are. But they're actually holding up to that portrayal by continuing this. I mean,
you're absolutely right.
An idea is only an idea until it's put into action, and when someone puts it into action, then that idea is no longer yours.
Well, but they were putting it into action for. I mean, from their perspective, they had hired Mark basically to design it for them, so they had put it into action.
The court saw differently.
Well,
I see differently as well. They were trying. They weren't putting it into action. They had an idea. They shared the idea. They were saying, "Are you able to help us with this idea?" They were bouncing ideas back and forth with Mark Zuckerberg, and Mark Zuckerberg took that idea and put it into real action. And that's where the success came. That's the way I see it.
What?
The success.
Oh wow, I'm friends with Tyler Winklevoss.
I wouldn't be their friend. I'm too loyal to Mark.
Are you Mark's friend?
We're not worthy. Not worthy.
Hey, can I give a quick shout out? I don't know if Brooke Wooford is still listening, but she said today in the events, because we always make sure we check who's talking to us and where they're talking to us, and she had said that she was going to be working tonight, so she couldn't come and enjoy the chat, but she was going to listen to headphones. So I want to say hi, Brooke. You know Brooke?
Hi.
I met
Hi,
her.
Brooke.
Oh, you did? Awesome. That's cool. So I thought that was nice because taking time out of your work to listen to us is pretty cool. Okay, so
I'm gonna add Cameron Winklevoss as a friend. See if he adds me back.
Hey, we should have him on the show.
Yeah, JD, you're friends with them. Let's get their side of the story.
I'm only friends with Tyler. Cameron is the alpha male amongst them.
The alpha male. Yeah.
But by the way, a random fact: did you know in the movie they were actually played by the same person?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
They have a lot of really cool facts, like the guy who played him, Jesse Eisenberg. Oh, there's a whole love story there. But anyways, his cousin actually works at Facebook.
Okay.
So the love story is with me and Jesse, but it's not. Okay. Anyways, the point is that his cousin works at Facebook. I thought that was interesting. I mean, how could you would there be a little bit of an awkwardness there?
I think
There's
so.
awkwardness now. I'm joking.
Oh, no, that's fine. But look, so everybody here is on Facebook, except for more banter. Everybody here is on Twitter. Everybody here has heard of MySpace. Low. But something that people don't often think of is what happens to information that you put on your social profile, or even information that other people put on your social profile, perhaps taking a picture of, I had a picture of Jeff when he fell into the pool at he was drunk and he fell into the pool at the Bellagio.
That was a stumble bump.
He stumbled into the fountain at Bellagio. So I took a picture and I almost tagged him.
Will you keep feeding me those? What was it? What was that drink you kept giving me?
I can't tell you. It's not legal.
Well, you kept putting those little things in there too. You said they were Skittles.
Yeah, no. Those were. We'll talk about that later, buddy.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry.
Don't check for tattoos. So yeah, but so if I wanted to, I could have, as a friend of Jeff, I could have taken that and put it, tagged him on his profile. Like, take the picture, I could upload it, tag him, and if he for some reason didn't notice it, then he might not even find out until, let's say, 8 months later. He's out, he's looking for a job, and they do a background check on him, and they find that Jeff going crazy on drugs in the Bellagio pool, the Bellagio fountain, and he might not get a job as a result. So there are lots of services out there that companies and lawyers and just every variation of people use to hunt down and find the dirt on people. There just aren't services out there that people can use to basically clean up their social profiles. That is, until now, and we are happy and pleased to be joined today by the CEO of SocioClean. How are you doing? And let me ask you this before we get started too far. Is your Facebook, Twitter, and MySpace and anything else, are they clean? And could we ever put you on the spot, Priyanshu?
Sure, you can actually. That's how we actually test it. We test it on my account. So mine is.
Nice.
Yep, I'm spick and span that way. So yeah, it's absolutely clean. But yeah, I mean, you bring up an important point, like you said. The idea actually came up with that as well. I had been reading, and there's a lot of stuff been going on. How these companies and recruiters and students getting out of school, not able to get a job. Like, I want to say like 45%, there was a stat the other day, 45% of the recruiters now getting up to 65% of the recruiters actually looking through these Facebook profiles, social network profiles, and actually figuring that into their hiring decision. The reason why this thing came up was I just started looking through my Facebook, and I don't think Facebook has done a good job of looking through your own content. You can the new thing that they just started was download your own content, but pretty much that's like a snapshot of your entire profile, and that's pretty much it.
Right.
So that's how the idea actually started springing up, and that's how we actually got thinking on that. We became a part of we are a part of the Evanston Incubator, which is the Technology Innovation Center in Illinois. It's basically it's like a joint thing with the Northwestern University. So we were fortunate enough to actually have some students from Northwestern University do our marketing research and tell us if there's actually a market for it. It started off with a small idea. We just launched it 3 months back. But JD, like you mentioned, I mean, after your blog and after a few, we've been getting good PR and stuff like that. We've been getting an overwhelming response. I mean, it's been really good that our email servers are actually hitting the load, and we have to move to a higher server capacity. And we might just be wrapping up our first phase of beta testing as well. We actually have hit about 5,000 users I want to say in like less than a month maybe, because that's when we started actually talking about it. So it's all started with an idea to actually figure out from the market if there was a need, and it seems like we've been actually hitting all sorts of people. We initially our target market was focused on students, because I thought that would be the prime market, but we were surprised with actually people that were signing up, and people from all over. I mean, there were religious groups, the law enforcement officials. Now, I was reading an article the other day that said, if you have to become a police officer, your profile has to be clean. The recruiter actually sits down with you, asks you to actually log into your Facebook account, and they go through your profile manually, which seems like a very, very tedious process to actually go through. So why not have something for these people as well? They can actually use this kind of service, like they have a credit score. I mean, there's a standardization. Maybe this is something that down the road it becomes, when you go for an interview, like, all right, this is my profile. I mean, like you said, Klout score, this is my influence, this is my social content grade, or for that matter, like the cleanliness, that everything is fine in that. I mean, there's nothing that actually should count against me. That's how Social Clean actually came into existence, and that's where we are at today as well.
That's really smart, especially if you're putting in, social media policies, which a lot of companies are doing, like Jeff yourself could probably benefit from this as well, making sure, keeping up to date with various accounts.
Oh yeah, definitely. I'm actually gonna be doing something with this.
Yeah, that'd be kind of cool. So you're able to connect with Facebook, Twitter, and MySpace. So what are you going to do now that MySpace is going to be 6 feet under? Are you going to release it for YouTube or Tumblr or something like that?
We are actually, so on our roadmap, I mean, we just started off with Facebook. I mean, that was the biggest social network, so that's how we could actually gauge the market for it. So I think we've got a good grasp of the market and the need out there. The next is coming up in, I want to say, a couple of weeks, is Twitter. And I think we're going to go with LinkedIn. I think we're going to drop out MySpace, because actually I just did an interview with The Daily, which is going to come out on Monday. And the reporter's question was the same: are you going to come out with MySpace? And we don't see the worth actually in investing in getting MySpace up and running, because I don't even think very many people are going to be sticking to MySpace after everything goes down, which is pretty much now. So we might go with LinkedIn first, and then we'll actually look to our customers now that we have a decent user base to actually start guiding us on which way to actually go from here. But I think after Twitter, LinkedIn will probably be the next one coming out.
That's smart. I like LinkedIn is one that you don't usually associate with posting of negative stuff. But what you can do on LinkedIn that I think a lot more people are doing is posting their thoughts and ideas. And I think that in a lot of ways very similar to what was happening with Facebook about a year and a half ago. People don't realize that your activity on LinkedIn is actually broadcast, and a lot of it is not private. So you may say something, somebody may inquire to you, and you may think that you're saying it privately, but you may say something pretty bad about even your own current job, and that would be obviously negative. What about the aspect that's being used right now? There's stories coming out about somebody was telling me, and I don't know, I did not verify this fact. This was something that was posted in the comment. But they were saying that like 85% of the divorce cases utilize Facebook, or at least check on Facebook or something like that.
That's right. That's right. So yeah, about 85% of the divorce cases actually use evidence of Facebook in court. So the way it's working out, I guess, is pretty much any kind of profile, any kind of messages that you might have shared outside, which might affect the divorce case. So in those cases, divorce lawyers are actually using that. So that's one of the big markets that's out there. But that's a fact that I actually came across as well. And there's a lot of study that is being done right now, like, online dating. I mean, when you get introduced to someone, what's the first thing that you do these days? The first thing that you do is go on to Facebook and see, try to get a judge, try to get a perception of that person in terms of what are they talking about, who are they talking to, what kind of pictures are they posting. I mean, that might just be make or break just by looking at that profile, even though, it's like, don't judge a book by its cover, but that's what it's getting down to. I mean, your social network content is actually the about me section of you pretty much. So that is something that we want to target as well in terms of getting these online dating sites. When you register a profile, that's one thing that you want to do, is go through your profile once, because the other person will definitely go online to look about you and find out who you are.
Well, I think that that brings up a great point, because I mean, a lot of people, including Mark Zuckerberg himself, will, they have a bad relationship or something bad happened during the relationship, and they'll go online and say some bad stuff. We see it all the time. Somebody breaks up with somebody and they change their status to single, and then they say, oh, I'm so glad that I'm not with that blank 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 and blank and blank.
Right.
She was
Right.
such a blank 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 and blah blah blah. And you say, ooh, is this really a guy that I want to date? It seems like when he starts going off, he goes off big,
Right.
and tries to embarrass me. So I'm not even going to take my chance. I like that. I hadn't thought of that angle. Um, what else?
So
Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Aaron.
Oh, I was just going to ask, I know you do this for profiles, but what about Facebook pages? Are we able to like connect through that way and be able to, for businesses to be able to make sure they can monitor it for sentiment monitoring?
So right now, I mean, we use Facebook Connect, so whatever we can get our hands on, I mean, we should be able to get that data out, and then we should be able to run our scan against that kind of data. So I mean, if for businesses, I mean, right now we're just hitting the consumer side. For businesses, I mean, you raise a good point. I mean, our enterprise version actually is probably going to be releasing soon as well, and it's more Jeff, it's more correlated with the social media policy, because we actually are trying to get into the self-governed solutions. So I don't believe in the big brother approach, and I don't want companies to actually go, if I'm an employee at the firm, I don't want the company to actually go into my account and start looking through it, because that's a huge privacy issue. So through this, we are trying to actually get a glimpse of how employees can actually, so let employers define their own scanning or their monitoring criteria, and proactively let employees actually scan their profiles and get a report, so that they can actually proactive about they're not doing anything inappropriate, that it's against the social media policy of the company or anything of that sort. So that's the enterprise side of things.
Yeah, but I was actually looking more towards, possible real time looking for just scanning the page to make sure that negative information isn't being said about the specific business on Facebook, which would be really awesome for business to be able to have it in real time, that something would pop up, ping them like Google Alerts would, and say, hey, somebody said poop on your page, that kind of thing.
So that is definitely on the cards right now. So like a scheduler kind of thing. So basically, once we actually start getting into the second phase of beta testing, and once we actually start defining the features, the next thing is the scheduler. So basically, you don't actually. So right now, what we do is basically on your own discretion. You go in and you personally have to run the scan right now and get a report for yourself and do the stuff. What the next phase is going to entail is pretty much going to be have a scheduler around it. So basically, it's going to keep running, let's say, after every 15 minutes or whatever you want to schedule it at. And it basically sends you a report in your email saying that, all right, so we found from the last report. So basically draw out comparisons from where you were and how you are and where you're going to be with these kind of things. So that's definitely is on the cards on the future roadmap.
I have I ran when I was exploring this service, I ran a test on myself, and it checked through my profile, and it identified. So I posted an update that said juggling the balls of life is easier than I thought, but not as easy as it should be. Which I have no idea what I was thinking or what I even meant at the time, but it sounded profound. I should have dressed like Jeff and gone to a coffee shop and just started spouting stuff like that out. But it noticed that I said the word balls. And it identified that as balls is a potential. I mean, let's face it, balls can.
I don't know. Tell us, JD.
Okay, so the other
Can
one.
be misconstrued.
So I posted a story called "Gaming Facebook," ironically enough, or Facebook Gaming : Love it or kill it with fire, and I posted a link, and of course it found kill. Kill. You don't want to be, if you're about to be a law enforcement officer. You don't want to, have on your Facebook page saying, "I just killed a man."
It's all about context, though. Also, like,
but that's the whole idea here. Is that
I like that.
I had posted in here, paranoia FTW was the header on this, and the whole idea is, be paranoid. I would rather have a search for everything, because it didn't come up with a bunch of things. Luckily, my Facebook profile was very clean. It didn't come up with a bunch of things, but I'm glad that it identified, that it didn't miss it. I would much rather have a full page of things that I can scan through versus having to scan through thousands of updates or try to search for, oh man, my gosh, I remember there was a time when I said something bad. I was drunk and I said something bad about my boss, and now I'm about to go look for a job. I hope they don't check it. Oh, what if they do? Blah blah blah. versus being stuck in a catch-22 and really hoping not to do that. You can just hop on here and it'll do the search for you. Go through there and pick out those words. You might even find other ones where like you said, where in the wrong context they can say the wrong thing. But I would rather it be paranoid and find the same example, the Facebook gaming love it or kill it with fire. Fire was pulled out. So then, but here's the part that I like. So let's say that you're not super active on Facebook, which a lot of people aren't. Some people check their Facebook, once a month. Some people don't check it very often at all, and or maybe they don't check it at all currently. But their friends may be active on Facebook, and they may take a picture of you doing something bad and tag you in it, and it starts looking for text.
Yeah.
Just as an example, Patrick Priest put, and I still need to go back and find out exactly what he's talking about, but he put a title in the text of or he put in a picture, and the text was, and I was tagged in it, and the text was BJ Greening. The letters BJ and then Greening.
Yeah, I'm in it all. I have that also on mine, so I must be tagged in it also.
I'm sure it's a person named BJ, but I'm glad that it found that because, nobody wants to. I'm not even going to go there. So it also has Yoon Ho and the term ho is in there. And then there's also a guy named Yesh Blunt. So the word blunt, obviously, if you have a picture, there's Ergo smoking a blunt, and Ergo doesn't catch it, but an employee might, and that would be a bad thing. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So that's why I'm thinking, this is something that my advice in the article was, check it depending on how active you are. Check it once a year, once a week, once a month, whatever. But check it. Make sure that you don't, before you go out there and start doing anything, whether it's finding a new spouse or finding a new job or becoming a law enforcement officer or whatever it is. Clean the stuff off of your social profiles, period. And you have the power. Luckily, one thing I do love about Facebook, not the one thing, but one thing I do like about Facebook is that if somebody tags you in a photo, you can remove the tag. So, that's good.
Yeah.
It's bad, I think, sometimes, but it's good as well.
Now, obviously, you have the images, or for the photos here, the keywords and whatnot. But do you have any thoughts on adding something that'll look for embarrassing or bad pictures?
So that definitely is on the card.
Oh God!
But I still think that
Zuckerberg
it's still not a science, though. It's still an art, which people are trying to make it a science, and I feel they have still a long way to go. But yeah, eventually down the road, some kind of image analysis is going to be put in, but we'll probably wait for the right technology to actually get to that place where it becomes 100% accurate. Right now, I think there's a lot of issues with the accuracy of that kind of stuff.
I think, what Ergo was more joking because of the picture with Zuckerberg here, but what you're covering right now is super important. I think even adding, like you're saying, you're going to be adding LinkedIn is really smart too, because people know that that's a place where people want to look for jobs and use it as a resume. And some people who are mean out there, unfortunately, could go on there and try to ruin things for you. And if you're able to cover yourself and by checking this and making sure that you're monitoring your own sentiment, make sure that people, sometimes you'll say something and it can be misconstrued and you're like, oh, that was taken the wrong way. Well, now you can go and get rid of it. So I think this tool is absolutely useful for personal use and business use, and I'm going to be using it myself. I really enjoy this.
Yeah, I definitely think it's an excellent tool to use.
Right. So I just want to make sure, because right now it's just the first version. We actually wanted to get it out there so that to see how we're gonna get the customer reaction, how are people gonna react to it. But hopefully, we've been definitely getting some good reviews out there, and definitely there's a use for it. So now we'll start getting into the more UIs, but how to actually get the more analysis done. So probably down the road, we're gonna start moving towards more sentiment analysis and actually your personal profile. How do people perceive you, or the content that you might be sharing? So something like Klout, but basically based on personal stuff, not people who are you friends with, but basically the content that you're sharing, how people actually viewing that, what kind of risk is there, and stuff like that. So basically that's down the road where we're headed down. But for right now, this is just a start, I guess.
Would you be able to, are you saying that you would be able to analyze what people are posting on their own wall and analyze what type of person they are?
No, so basically we want to actually get to a place where we can do some kind of sentiment analysis on the fact that what kind of stuff do you actually post? What do you mostly talk about? Kind of, where exactly does your interest lie? How do you actually want to, what people perceive about you? How do people actually look at you? I mean, that's down the road, how we want to approach that. We don't know how we're going to approach, but that basically, is that how we're going to get it to there?
Well, we need you to...
Sorry, I was gonna say something like this might sound like not morbid, but just I don't know. This I'm just thinking outside the box in a way. Where this might actually be a really cool, neat tool for I don't want to say psychologists, but law enforcement to help find people who are online, mainly Facebook, and that are may have suicidal tendencies
or even bullying, Jeff. Even bullying. That would be Yeah.
And being able to curb that, being able to say, okay, well, this person has been talking about this for the past month, and this is the sentiment that we're getting, or this person is bullying that person, like Aaron said. That might be a tool you could use.
Oh, it's funny because when you said I had a morbid thought, the first thing that came to my mind after you said that and putting together and trying to anticipate what you were going to say based upon this was that if they are able to make it to where it can really learn a lot about a person, that it would be an excellent tool to be able to automatically generate epitaphs or obituaries. I'm not kidding. So don't laugh.
This tool, actually, I should get Jeff to say tool for Arnold's sake, but this tool is going to be amazing for different reasons. I want you to keep us informed, Arnold. Sorry, I called it. I'm reading the chat here, Arnold.
Arnold, Priyanshu, people get that.
Arnold, because he's bottoms up. Priyanshu, keep us informed and let us know what you have planned so we can share it with everybody, because I think this is a tool of the future. We definitely need to know for protection of our own privacy and protection of what people can say about us, or sometimes we just do stupid things. So especially
from ourselves.
Yeah, protection from ourselves, exactly.
Most definitely.
Absolutely. Priyanshu, thank you so much for being on the show. And definitely, you've got my email, you've got our phone number, you've got our Skype. Let us know about updates, anything that's coming up. Just big news when it's there. We want to hear about it because we're Social Blade, and it's the kind of stuff that we get into.
Sure. Thanks for having me, guys.
Absolutely. No problem, man. I want to thank our audience. You guys are fantastic, wonderful as usual. Engagement, interaction, and just the plain chatter. I don't actually watch the chat room as much anymore because it just makes me.
Because you're a tool.
I'm not a tool. There we go. But one thing that I do, you said do. One thing that I do is I do follow us. Follow the Social Blade Show on Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube. I go to twitter.com/socialblade and I follow them, us. I go to facebook.com/socialblade and I like us. And I go to youtube.com/socialblade and I subscribe to us. So you should do all three of those actions. It takes about a minute and a half to accomplish all three. And then from there, you'll be able to watch hours and hours and hours, literally dozens, if not hundreds of hours of videos on YouTube and hundreds, if not thousands of hours of updates by Aaron Ryan on Facebook and Twitter. So please follow us. And Ergo. Now, you can go to our blog. You can suggest a guest straight from our blog, socialblade.com/ is it show or blog now? I
show.
Lost some time. Show. There we go. While there, you can check out our past guests as well as read our social media, Social Blade style posts. You can get SMS alerts via Social Blade. Just that way you'll know when we go live as well as other shows. Just go to j.mp/subus, SUBUS, j.mp. Excuse me, j.mp/subus. And then you can check out our YouTube stats. This is awesome. If you're on YouTube, especially if you have a YouTube channel, you've got to check out what Ergo did. He has outdone himself. I've been checking it out lately, and it is absolutely amazing. Socialblade.com/YouTube. It's brand new. It's a YouTube stat collector, and it's funny because one of these days we'll tell a story of how it's created. He built it in like 8 minutes based upon a need from blah blah blah. We'll get into that. Maybe that can be a topic of a future show. But definitely go to j.mp/subus, sign up for SMS alerts about Social Blade, or about Ask Outcast, Tuesday nights at 8 p.m. Eastern. Banned on the web, 10 p.m. Eastern. And Patrick did finally contact me the other day, so we are planning on doing a ban on the web very, 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 very soon, Tuesday, 10 p.m. time, as well as the drill down with Andrew Sorsini and whoever else we can get, such as more banter last night. Thank you so much. At 9:30 Eastern time on Wednesdays. So as you're out there and you're trying to figure out what in the world did I do last year, I know I did about 10 billion embarrassing things, and I put it on my Facebook page. How do I do that? You can go to SocioClean. That's SOS. I'm sorry, SOCIOCLEAN, SocioClean.com, and do there. We recommend this because we like it, because we know our social media. Because for show number episode 69, we are Social Blade.